Welcome back. Steve Basic Architect here. Hopefully you're enjoying what we're putting up here. Trying to share a whole bunch of information, and inside that sharing, I try and make sure that I'm dropping a few golden nuggets here and there of information, places where I might have taken a left turn in my thinking or understanding or education in the building world. This one was certainly an education of what not to do. This was a house that I got called into to look at and actually be an expert witness on. The homeowners bought the house. This is this is the house that, one of those flip your house shows on TV. And this one was the victim of that consciousness. I mean, just the idea of flipping houses suggests that, our number one goal there is making money, not ensuring that the house has been put in a position to succeed or a position for success, but the number one goal is, will I make money? And how do I make money on this? And the way you make money is that you have quality suffers, and you're able to do things quicker, easier, but they're not as good. And the result is that the product ends up being deficient, but of course you've made money, right? There's a story before we get into this. You can have a three-legged stool, right? That three-legged stool, it's pretty simple. There's cost, there's time, and there's quality, right? And the saying goes, there's three potentials. But the reality is, you can have only two of them, right? What does that mean? It means I can be cost effective, I can be quick, and I can have quality. I can only get two of them. If I get quality and time, it costs me money. If I move really fast and I don't give up quality, or I do give up quality, then I get money, right? If I want to be fast, I'm going to sacrifice some quality, and it is probably going to cost me money. When you're doing a flip and you make this the priority, these become your challenges: quality and time, right? How fast can I do this? How fast can I flip this house to go from it being mine to being somebody else's that they've paid for, right? And in doing that, the quality suffers because you just can't do things the way they should be done and done correctly to ensure. So anyways, this house, and it's one of those things I tell people, especially when we worked at Building Science Corporation, we do building investigations. The minute somebody gets called in to look at a problem, chances are not only are they going to find that problem, but they're going to find other problems. Because once you go under the microscope, man, things just kind of rise up. So like this, we got called in because we were talking about some water issues here, but look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 risers. Code says 3 risers, 30 inches. This is definitely higher than 30 inches. That is more than 3. There should have been handrails here, right? And there's not. The code also says that direction of travel here needs to be a minimum of 36 inches. And now these are things that we came across that weren't even originally placed in question, right? So the first thing I did was measure it, and you can see we're right about there. We're under the 36 inches. It's just by a little. I know I'm being nitpicky there, but the reality is it doesn't meet code, and it doesn't meet code with the handrail. But those weren't the real problems for why we got called in. Look at this, right? A couple things here that you can see. Notice water staining here. Well, what does that suggest? It means that water is sitting here and it's not draining down our system or sloped to the outside, and it's actually sitting here, or worse yet, it is being driven in underneath that system. But the water stain suggests, when you see that, suggests that, okay, we had water there and it dried because it left this dirt residue behind. Also notice the dimension from floor to top of slate is, 0 inches. Like, this thing is right up against the siding, right? Typically on something like that, I would probably do about a minimum of 4 inches, right? If snow is in there, and one of the things that I've come to realize recently, years ago, we would worry about snow. Snow would come in, it would be a problem until it melted, weeks or months ago. Now we're in situations where the weather patterns are such that this can conceivably be filled with snow. The snow could melt, but it could develop a little ice dam, right? And then go down. And so the slab is like this. And what happens is now you get some more snowfall, and it creates a little puddle here. And that little puddle is now challenging all of my flashing and such at the sill there. Because we have, in New England here, it is not uncommon to go through a winter where this week it's 60 and next week it's 30. And somewhere in between it has snowed and then rained, right? And so we get some snow and then we get some rain. The rain packs this up, but it still leaves it as ice. But then this fills with liquid water, and it's actually pushing it back towards the house. So that's where this 4 inches, right? If this went down and then across, any water or anything that goes up against here, I have the ability to flash that. If this is going and it looks like, this, I don't have any dimension there to stop water. If it gets behind a little piece of ice, it's going to come in. It's going to challenge the door. It's going to challenge everything under the door, right? The building science of that detail is atrocious, right? I have absolutely no way to flash it or deal with it. And so that was one of the major concerns when we came up. But look at this. When you go downstairs, evidence of water. Right? I mean, every one of the joists, not to mention the fact that they drilled holes way too close. And over here, let's just notch that out to get that pipe in there or wire, a bunch of things there. But you can see the evidence of water damage is immense there once we pulled that ceiling down and pulled the insulation out. Not to mention it was bad insulation. There's no effort for air tightness here, right? I mean, this is everything against building science, right? This is building science non-existence, right? It's just leaking in there. What they did was they basically did that recessed doorway, and they had the top of joist and they had their floor sheathing. They just basically put an ice and water shield and folded it up the sides. Now, ice and water shield is a good flashing material, but it's a really good flashing material, and most things are good flashing materials when water has the motivation to move away. What do I mean by that? Like you see a cheek wall where you have a roof and a dormer, right? Well, we'll see ice and water shield here, which is a really good flashing, but understand the water is on a slope and it's migrating away, right? We're getting rid of it, down and out. The water's moving away. In this situation, the water isn't moving away. In fact, it's puddling. And when things puddle, that means they constantly challenge the system, right? And when they constantly challenge the system, guess what happens? The system ultimately will relinquish some of its success, and it does that, as you can see here. Look at all this water staining there, right? It's just a absolutely horrific job. And you know, it was done on the outside to look pretty and, oh, you got some nice stone slate there. But think about, how do you fix this now? You have to pull that all apart. But the framing is not set up, right? This really wanted to drop 4 inches at the doorway. And they didn't do that. They just left it all flat. It is the same floor framing for the entryway as it is for, you know, the house inside. It's, I mean, it might be down just a little bit, but it's absolutely horrendous. And yeah, it's, I get it. I know people want to make money, but you know, we really have to understand that when the things that we do in the construction, if we do them right, they're certainly going to outlast us. And hopefully they outlast the next person in line too, at least before they start getting challenged. This is a project that, you know, this is happening like within 12 months of the people moving in and the project being done. That's disgraceful, right? I mean, this is a standard that's so low, I wouldn't even say it's embarrassing, it's horrific. The fact that you couldn't keep water out through one cycle of the winter is absolutely horrific. And, you know, and I know that the people that did this work, they don't really care about the fact that they did it or they did it this way, which is the part of the building industry that it really discourages me and that I hate. And it's pretty much the reason I'm sitting in this chair is that it's not necessary to educate that builder, because honestly, I don't think that builder can be educated. Their motivation is measured in dollar signs, and doing the right thing doesn't really compute. And like I said, in the three-legged stool, when your motivation is the dollar signs, then the other two things are one of them has to suffer pretty immensely, either time or quality. And somebody that's worried about dollar signs is probably worried about how long is this going to take, so let's do it in the shortest amount of time possible, which means that the quality exponentially gets challenged. And it becomes a major problem. And as you can see here, I mean, this is living proof of that three-legged stool come to life, making bad decisions and the ramifications of those bad decisions. Absolutely horrendous there. So anyways, thought I'd run that through. Just, it was a little tidbit, but there's still some little golden nuggets inside there, things to think about, things to worry about, things to see, right? A lot about what we do in the building industry, especially in, you know, when you go and look at problems, it's that ability to see things slightly different. Some people look at that furniture and go, oh, look at nice, beautiful slate, right? You get a realtor, oh, it has a nice slate, highly durable front entryway. Well, the stone might be highly durable, and it might look nice, but if the system below it isn't designed to be proportional to the success of that stone, then you end up with this crap, right? And that's disgusting. And the fact that we go out and we sell this as a good idea is disgusting. So anyways, I'm doing my best, right? If you're a homeowner or you're buying a home, you should be looking at your builder and saying, what's the water management strategy on this house? What's the air management strategy? What type of air quality can I assume inside this house? And it's not so much that you're looking for all A+ answers. I would be asking those questions just to identify, does the builder know, or even the realtor, do they really know what the correct answer is? Because if they don't, then how do I know I'm getting it, right? So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm Steve Baczek, architect. Yeah, that's not pretty. Until next time, long live our buildings.